it just feels like such a commitment because they are so long and there's so many in the series that it just feels like
Yeah.
I have to really be ready to dive in and live in that world for a little while.
Yeah.
And then I
I can see
also
that.
like it's very hard for me to live a normal life once I get into a series or a book. Like, if we're being fully honest, like,
Valid.
I want to ignore
Valid.
my family. I want to
Yeah.
go hide in my bedroom. I have my earbuds in, and it's not healthy for my family
Hmm.
dynamics.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Medeiros.
And I'm Colleen Hungerford, and this is the Inspire Her Collective podcast and community for the whole woman, mind, body, soul, and business.
It's humor infused, as real as it gets, inspiring, and you'll walk away with real, usable tools for life and business.
If you love what you're hearing, please share with a friend, subscribe so you never miss an episode, and rate and review wherever you listen.
And if you find yourself wanting more inspiration and authenticity, visit our website to learn how to join our nationwide community. Let's dig in.
Hi, welcome
Hello.
to the
Bird.
Inspire Her Collective
I-
podcast and community.
and community. Yeah, I think this is our first rebranded podcast
I
with
think
just you
so.
and me, right?
So first thing I'm going to do is brag about Inspire Her Collective Slow because we just had our women's health huddle last
Yes.
week and it was such a hit. We opened our meeting up to friends of members to attend as well. And we had some former podcast guests, Lauren Edwards, pelvic floor specialist, Lauren
Ooh, yes.
McAllister, nutritionist,
Love Lauren.
and cycle syncing, but she has rebranded it to cycle awareness because in our very busy life, it is like nearly impossible to actually sync our life to our cycles, but actually just like the awareness and oh my God, the grace that we should give ourselves. Like we're in a man's world where we're supposed to function all the time like a machine, 24 hours a day, all the time.
Yeah.
But we
24-hour
have
cycle.
a
Yeah.
28-day cycle ish that's like fucking unrelenting in some weeks. And so
You know, there are some podcasts that we have had that have
mhm.
literally been life
These
changing
two.
for me.
Yeah.
The pelvic floor one was one of them, and this and the cycle syncing. And I have been tracking my cycle. I've never tracked my cycle. I'm 43 years old, and for like 42 years, or whenever she came on, 40 years, whenever she came on, because she was one
Mhm.
of our earlier guests. I never tracked my cycle. And it was always like, surprise, you got your period.
How'd you have three
Like each
kids?
month, it was always like, oh,
You just had sex all whole month?
I don't know.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. It just happened. And very interestingly enough, if you think about your cycle, like all my kids were born, and I don't know if this is everybody, but like Vivian was born on the 25th of the month, Everett was born on the 25th of the month, and Jackson was born on the 1st of the month. So all within either the same day or a
Mhm.
week of each other.
Mhm.
Isn't that wild? Anyway, yeah, I just let it ride. I was just letting it ride for years. Like, and every time I got my period came, I was like, what's happening? Why is this going on? You know, but I now, especially now into my almost mid 40s, because I'm 43 now. And I do think there's a big difference between 40 and 43.
Saw you in 3
It feels
years.
different hormone wise. Yeah. I very consistently track my cycle, and I have that app.
Lively?
I've talked to you guys about it before, the
Uh-huh.
Lively app, and I check it regularly, like regularly, because I'm like, why do I feel this way? And then I'll look and I'll be like, oh, it's luteal. It's in my luteal phase. No
Right.
wonder,
Yeah.
like, and it does give you a little bit of understanding and some grace and some like, okay, like maybe these emotions that you're having are real, but also based on your hormone fluctuation. So like maybe chill out a little bit, or maybe give yourself a little bit of grace about why you're reacting so
Or like
dramatically to
maybe
this
ask your family to
situation
spend more
or
time away from the house that
whatever.
week so that you can not blow up on everybody.
Yeah.
That was a big revelation that we worked through in therapy, Alex and I. It was like quality over quantity. Like I don't need to spend that whole week in the same way that I normally do with my family if I have no fucking patience and I'm going to just explode constantly. Like it's
Hmm.
better for everybody if we just don't hang out. Like Guys, just like let me read my book and play my stupid fruit merge game in peace,
It's
okay?
like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yeah, I think it's real. And I think, like I said, this one app allows David to sync and monitor with it. And so he can see and stuff like that. And I think, that gives him the opportunity to have more data to understand how things
Might happen at
are
home.
working,
Yeah,
right?
what might this week look like?
Yeah, yeah.
Alex
What
regularly asks
exactly?
if I'm still
So
updating it, and I'm not because sorry to cut you
I
off,
don't
but
I don't have time. I
I
don't care.
so
No, go ahead.
you guys, I've talked about this before, but I'm having like just insane menstrual issues with like I went to the
Mhm.
emergency room, I think it was
Yeah.
3 months ago now for like extreme pain. I started bleeding 10 days before that. I'm still bleeding. Still bleeding every
Oh my God,
day.
Cheryl, that's three
Every
months.
day. And I also like I've
Mhm.
gone on hormonal birth control now to try and like stop my I don't think I'm having a period. Here's my medical theory. Everybody get excited. I had a uterine ablation like two
Yeah.
and a half
Okay.
years ago. It failed. I have been
Yeah.
bleeding each period and it's been collecting above where they cauterized it and just pooling. And then I think what happened the day I went to the
Yeah.
emergency room was like it just burst. Like where it had been pooling above, like I think we just pushed through. That is my theory. And now all the blood that had been pooling for that 2 years is now just coming out and I'm no longer in pain.
Do you think it's like an
Yeah, so I'm no longer in
okay, okay.
pain.
I was gonna say, do you think it's like an
No, I think it's
active
old blood. I think
bleed?
I'm losing old blood that was just stuck inside of me,
Mhm.
and it's just coming out. And so, but the
Like,
other weird thing is now I'm on this
oh my
hormonal birth
God.
control, but I do feel that I'm still following my cycle. Not, I don't feel. I feel maybe slightly more leveled out on the hormonal birth control, but I'm still having like the menstrual headaches when I should be getting my period based on my historical cycle.
Mm.
It's like my own cycle is stronger than the hormonal birth control. And I don't
Yeah, your body's like,
I
don't
do what
fuck
I
with me. I'll
want.
do what
Like,
I want.
what does Cheryl think? So I really don't know. I go back to the doctor in June to talk about this. I just remembered this morning she ordered an MRI that I haven't
Listen,
done yet. So I need to call and figure that out. But man,
this is some bullshit because why are you not able to get in? Is it just insurance purposes
for
or
go
they're
back till
busy
June.
or
Well, we were
whatever? Like
trying to
what's
give this
what's
birth control like a shot. We were trying to like, if this solved the
okay.
problem, then I could maybe do this instead of a
Hmm.
hysterectomy. And so now I don't know what the plan of action will be, but
Do you think 2026 is the year that Cheryl and Colleen lose a bunch of organs? Like,
I
is
don't
that what's gonna
know.
happen? I already did. I already
Yeah,
got one's already out.
maybe we're taking the
So
uterus.
I don't
And
know.
then I have pause. I'll lose my uterus, but like I also don't want to stay on birth control because I have no sex drive at all, and that's not great for my marriage. And there's just so much about
Hmm.
it that I don't like. And I miss cycle syncing. Like that was a really because I was thinking about this my early 20s. Well, from I got on birth control when I was 15 or 16 because I was a little slut bag high school student doing it. And so I was on birth control from like 16 to 26. And then I did like the rhythm method when I met Alex. And that for those non Catholics, the rhythm method is where you track your cycle and you know when you can get pregnant. And so that was
Yeah,
the first time I like learned
you're right.
that you can
You're
get
right.
pregnant at only a certain
The
time.
Catholics have been cycle syncing
They have
for
been, they
for
have been,
centuries.
but with the
Yeah.
intention of getting pregnant different. So like I've not gotten to cycle sync most of my life or had cycle awareness. And then now that I have it, I want to have it, but now my body's messed up. So here we are. Alas, it was a great presentation. We also had
Alas.
my friend and neighbor, Patty LeBlanc, H2O Wellness in Santa Maria and Santa Margarita. She's like a hydrocolonics specialist, but she specializes in just detox. And she came and talked to us too about like how our body detoxes, like colon, lymphatic system, gave us some tips. And that was really cool. And the main
What did she say about the
Oh, there's this
lymphatic
big six you
system?
have to look up with like you can do like this like tapping thing on like your six lymphs and like this whole like massage thing you can do to try and like she does it every day. Really cool. Was really neat. The feedback I got
Yeah, I
from
need
people who
that.
came was like, I wish it was longer. And like, can we do like an all day retreat for
Oh,
like perimenopause? And I'm like, yes, yes, we can. We can figure
yes,
that
we
out.
can.
Just really, really like cool to open up the community too, broader. give some folks exposure to the Inspire Her Collective
Yes.
community. And
Oh, I
it
love
was really,
it.
it was soul filling. The feedback I got was I needed more diversity in the room, which always,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like such a
Always, yeah.
struggle. And I need to figure out how to do better at it. I kind of like the day that I got the feedback, I also hadn't slept at all the night before because the puppy and Emmy was flaring and June keeps coming in our room at night and all the things. And I was
Oh
like,
God.
I normally would receive
Yeah.
this so much more gracefully, but I got defensive and it was
Okay.
hard because
Okay.
I feel very much like I'm at a stage where I'm just trying to fill rooms. I'm not like I'm trying to get
Mm.
bodies there. Uh, and
Yeah. But I think it's one of those things where it's like it has to be part of our like, and I think that's like the systemic
mhm,
you're raised, what environments you're raised in and things like that, right? Like it's not consciously like we're two white ladies. It's not consciously in our
right.
thought process when you're putting it together, but it
Right.
has to be, right? Like that's the thing I think that we're trying to continue to work on is like and be better at. And honestly, like
Right.
we have to, right?
Yeah. Because
We should.
as much as
But it is
I need
but I
this
get it.
information, women of color need this information, like all these other people also need this information. And like if my circle doesn't naturally expose to those people, I need to find a way to expose it. And so I have some ideas, like we have some diversity coalitions and we have some, women of color groups. And like I just need to connect with those leaders and like give them the invitation.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can like broaden the diversity.
Broaden
Hmm?
your sphere as well. Yeah. And
Right.
broaden your
Yes.
own
I'd
sphere
love
as
to.
well,
You know,
right?
what's interesting when I was the woman who gave me the feedback is obviously a dear friend of mine and she is Hispanic and like so
Mhm.
my adult friendships, my closest 3 adult friendships right now is a Filipino, a Hispanic lady and a Korean. And so I'm like, I'm doing it. But I don't know how to
Yeah.
broaden it. And so anyways, it was good feedback. It was a hard day to receive it, and I tried to be
Yeah.
graceful about it, and it opened up conversation, which was great. Like I think in friendships, which was one of the things we wanted to talk about today, like having hard conversations is a part of that,
Yeah.
and receiving difficult
Yeah,
feedback.
for sure.
And then too, like when I gave this woman when I told her like I want to receive this more gracefully, but I'm so tired. I'm so tired today that I'm feeling really sensitive and taking it really personally
Mhm.
and feeling just a little defeated and that like I'm just trying to fill rooms and like I'm trying to do this good thing and she was, her side of it was like, well, I delivered it very bluntly because that's our friendship and generally that works. But we were really able to have like this very open
Yeah.
dialogue about like what I need to do better and like I was able to just be vulnerable in that like ugh, this is hard. This is just fucking hard. And I'm trying to learn how to do it right.
Yeah. 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 And it is hard when you are, leading and somebody says that you've done something wrong, or
It
it
feels like
feels
that.
like that,
It
right?
wasn't
Like
that I
that
did
is
anything
just
wrong. It was that I could
it
do
feels like
something
that, right?
better, truly is what it is. And it's true. You
Yeah.
can. And it has to stay on the forefront of
Yeah.
my mind. And it also like she did everything.
Hmm.
It wasn't delivered in a way, and we've talked about this over and over, but like I wasn't canceled, because of this. And that's what I feel like in these teaching moments. Don't cancel, educate. That is like really all we could ask
Yeah.
for. I feel like it's the best way to handle things. And like that's what ultimately was done. And like it's on the forefront of my mind now. And great. That's wonderful. Just like sometimes I'm tired and that's hard. But like also what a fucking privilege that like I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
Correct. Correct. And I think that's always the viewpoint is like it might feel hard for us, but like we have this inherent privilege
Mhm. Or it doesn't have to be top of
just
mind when I walk into a
existing.
room because
So,
everybody there looks like me.
right.
Yeah. So
Right.
we took it there
So,
today.
we yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Great. So I was prepared to share what I bought
We
on TikTok
will.
Shop, but we went
We're
a
gonna,
different direction.
it just, I wanted to talk about the event and how great it was, which it really was. And the feedback
Yeah.
was so good and all of that. And
Yeah.
there was a learning moment.
And that's real. I mean, right? That's the realness of everything that we're always trying to do, right? And here for my group with, the Indie Inspire Her group, that's something that is important to me. I think for me, because coming from LA to coming to Indianapolis, obviously Indianapolis is not as diverse as Los Angeles. Few places are, right? And for me, it was a weird kind of culture shock because I came from a place that was like being in a culturally diverse and racially diverse environment was very normal to me. Like that was part of my everyday to come here. And then I remember the first time I went to the nail salon here, I it was so white blonde, and they put me in the back with the only Hispanic woman working in there. I felt, and I'm the white lady, right? But I felt like I was being discriminated against because they clearly thought that I was like Hispanic and they were putting me with the Hispanic lady, right? And it was like I remember feeling like, why did you guys put me in the back? Why are all the blonde ladies in the front? And it was like, again, I'm not trying to compare my experience to somebody of a person of color, but I could like there was a reality check there where I was like, oh, I am different, right, in this environment. Like, there quite honestly are not a lot of women who look like me in Indianapolis or in Carmel, but, I'm still a white lady. So, like, there's still that. But anyway, so I'm really trying really hard to make sure that my groups always have some like diversity to it. And I think one of the things that I say a lot here is people I think initially when they say like we need more diversity, they at least here, I'm not speaking for everybody, it is a black versus white conversation, and not necessarily like thinking about Latinas, not thinking about the Asian population, not thinking about like other cultures, and that's also something that's very important. So anyway, we can have a long conversation about that, but it is when with Indie Maven and having that newsletter and that media company here in Indianapolis, it's like, how are we finding women of color to be writers? How are we finding women of color to be speakers at our events? It's funny enough, I was just talking to Bob, and she was talking to one of our writers, our contributors, who is also a therapist, and the therapist is a white woman, and she was like, I really think that that I would like to write an article about how like certain cultures aren't seeking out therapy or aren't seeking out help. And Bhavna point blank to her face said, you're not the person who can write that article. Like, we're not interested in your perspective as a white woman on why other cultures are not
Right.
seeking out therapy. If you want to find a colleague who is a person of color who wants to write that article, then yeah, we would love to have that article, but we're not willing to accept it
Right.
from you because it's not a real
Right.
perspective, right? Like it's not like it's somebody's outsider perspective on why they think these cultures
Right.
are not, so it is the like constant like having those conversations, putting in the forefront. And I know from our friend Susie, I know from Bhavna, like it's exhausting to be the one person of color who's always there and to fight the fight. So we will continue to always be
Yep.
better.
So we're going to talk also about pop culture and trends. Pivot.
uh, yeah, that was really what our topic was. We were like, okay, what do we want to talk about today? We want to talk about pop culture trends, and instead we started
Heavy.
differently, but it's okay because that's
It
just kind of
is.
how
It
it
is.
goes. That's how the
It
conversations
is.
go. Okay, so when you were like, "Hey, let's talk about this," I was like, "Yes." And I think I don't know what you had in mind, but I feel like how I consume media and how I now then purchase is so reflective on pop culture and culture and what we're seeing and ads and things like that. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that I'm doing right now. Do you want to talk about
Yeah, I
some of the
really
stuff you're
wanted to
doing
talk
right
about the
now?
book I'm reading right now.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about. I'll do a book. Okay, start
I
with your
mean,
book. Start with your book because I'm also
I'm
reading a
reading
book.
The Correspondent right now by Virginia
Oh, what
Evans.
is
Okay,
that?
let me give you this little bio about it.
Okay,
This is the word of mouth
tell us
debut
about it.
novel of 2025 that no one saw coming.
Mm.
Virginia Evans published in April of
Ooh.
2025 with basically zero fanfare, and it quietly climbed to the number one spot on the New York Times fiction bestseller list by February of 2026. Guys, it is okay, I learned this word.
What's it
It's an
about? The correspondent.
epistolary novel, meaning it's entirely through letters and emails. So you're learning about this woman's life
What?
only through her correspondence. She's a 73-year-old woman who sits down daily to write letters and emails to people. She writes to her friends, she writes to her brother, she writes to literally anybody, authors, like famous people, like begins this month-long correspondence with a customer service representative at basically like a 23andMe company. And it's
Oh my
so
God.
fascinating to me how much you can learn about a person simply through their correspondence. Like there's no other there's no other information. There's no backstory. There's nothing. You simply are reading these letters and hearing responses to the letters. And then it's a whole it's a whole story. It's fascinating. And
That's
it is. I had
wild.
no idea what to expect.
Like, how did this lady
I
have
don't
this
know. It was
idea?
on my
Yeah.
list of like things to read next. I think in 38 people
Okay.
were talking about it.
I'm really actually disappointed that it doesn't have any fairies or
So far
dragons
away from
or
that.
like,
I've kind of fallen off the fairy fae wagon right now.
okay, well, I am not.
You're
I'm
deep. You're
deep in
deep.
it. Okay.
Yeah, go.
Because I am reading the Crescent
Okay.
City series, which I did not want to
Uh-huh.
read, but there's going to be a new ACOTAR book coming out. And I saw on TikTok that they intertwine in some way. And so I was like, oh, interesting.
Oh.
So I will just say if you're an ACOTAR fan and you haven't read all the other series, like if you haven't read the
The OG is what they always Throne of
what's yeah, Throne of Glass. If you haven't read Throne of Glass, you should. It's amazing. I think it's way better. I think actually the ACOTAR series is
I
the
don't like
worst of these
ACOTAR.
three
I
series.
am fucking
Yeah.
struggling so hard. I think I'm on book number 4 or 5. I cannot fucking get through
Okay.
it.
It is so she writes very slow. She's very slow at times, and then she'll hit you with this like pow, like big thing that happens, and then you're like sucked in. But and I will say the Throne of Glass series is much longer. There's much more like story building. And if my screen just got darker, it's because we're just all of a sudden there's a massive storm going
It
on
did get dark. I
outside.
was
Like
noticing
it
that.
just came out of nowhere. Like, it just came out of nowhere. Like it's massive. Anyway, so I'm in the middle of Crescent City and it is very good. So I am in the Fae
Crescent City is
world
on
right
the
now.
list, on the short list of ones that may be started next. I think it just feels like such a commitment because they are so long and there's so many in the series that it just feels like
Yeah.
I have to really be ready to dive in and live in that world for a little while.
Yeah.
And then I
I can see
also
that.
like it's very hard for me to live a normal life once I get into a series or a book. Like, if we're being fully honest, like,
Valid.
I want to ignore
Valid.
my family. I want to
Yeah.
go hide in my bedroom. I have my earbuds in, and it's not healthy for my family
hmm
dynamics.
So I listen to my books. So when I say
Same,
read, I mean listen. I'm an
same.
audiobook reader. because I have to multitask. So I listen to him in the car when the kids are not in the car. So when I'm driving places, and then I listen to it on
Okay.
my walks.
Story as old as time, but my friend Bonnie, gonna call you out by name, Bon Bon, had a
God.
bunch of like 10-year-old boys over at the house, and she had her Bluetooth in her ears and she's listening, and like the house Bluetooth took it. She was she was like, no, no,
Oh my God,
no,
I'm sure I'm
no.
terrified of this always. Terrified of this always. I'm always terrified. Like when I am listening to it in the carpool lane, like carpool line at school, I'll turn it
Terrifying.
off like
Well, also
before I
because
even get
everybody can hear
like
what you're
up.
listening to outside your car. Like, I don't know how many people notice this, but like, I can hear your phone ringing. I can hear your conversation. I can hear like everything when I'm
Yes.
walking past your
Yes.
car.
Turn it down.
And
Turn,
so, I mean,
turn
and
it
I'm
down.
guilty too. Like, I'm listening at like 33. I totally understand. But yeah, we can all hear
You
it.
know what's really interesting? I have like the AirPod
Uh-huh.
Pros, right? And I got these maybe a few months ago, beginning of the year, end of the year. I think when I got my new computer. And I was like, wow, where I have been living in the past and now I'm welcome to the future. They really cancel out the noise, and they're also very like they can get very loud, and I often get the alerts on my phone that like I have surpassed
You're
the
listening above the decibel. Yeah.
decibel
Mm-hmm.
recommendation. Yeah, but interesting. So I wore David's Beats headphones to the gym the other day, and I was like, these things are so quiet. Like, can I turn this up any? I
Oh,
couldn't turn it up loud enough because they're not as loud as the
interesting.
AirPods. Anyway, I I digress. So I'm reading slash listening to Crescent City because I am interested in the new book that comes out in October for, so that's what I've been listening to. I have kind of very honestly strayed away from any kind of like business books, any kind of coaching this year. I felt like I was inundating myself with too much and then not applying what
You got like this with
I was just
coaching
consuming
that
and then
year
not
also.
applying. It's
Yeah.
like coaching. Yeah,
Hmm.
same. And I just am like, okay, I don't want to consume any more of this if I'm not going to apply it. So I need to start applying some of these things to my life before I listen to anything else. The thing that I am intrigued about reading next is this book. It's called Making It Without Losing
Okay.
It, and it's by a woman named Jen Ekstrom, and she started a group company business called Mic Drop, and it helps teach women how to speak publicly. And they just did their first ever live like event here in Indianapolis. They're not from Indy, but they picked Indianapolis because of its central location and all the things that are here. So women from all over the country came. And basically, what Mic Drop does is they have these workshops and they teach women how to speak publicly, but not necessarily always for stage, but like for the boardroom, for leadership, for finding their voice at home, things like that. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm interested in this book. I think it's pretty cool. Uh, it says in here you'll learn how to define your own success fingerprint, dodge burnout disguised as productivity, and embrace the arrived mindset.
Love it.
So that's on my list of
The book I'm reading
books
right
to
now
read.
for the Helm Book Club is The Lazy Genius Way. And we wanted one lighter this month, and this was what was chosen. So, practical advice, life changing
I still need to join that
principles.
group. The
Yeah, it's
one,
great. I wish I could tell you what day of the week we meet on or what day of the month, but I don't have it registered in my brain, which is always a problem because then I'm like caught not having been done with the book. But this book is going to resonate with you. So, it's being a lazy genius isn't about doing more or less, it's about doing what matters to you. Here for it. Yeah,
oh, I like that.
I
I just want to do
know.
what I
Do what I
want. I
want.
just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah, so that's that. Okay, and then
Okay.
there's a podcast I want to talk about.
That's it for this week. Come back next week for part 2.
That's a wrap. Thank you for joining us on this journey of laughter, life, and growth. Please remember to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's conversation, we'd be thrilled if you would leave us a review on your favorite platform. Your feedback means the world to us.
And don't forget to share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a good laugh and some practical insight into navigating the challenges and triumphs of our minds, body, soul, and business. And remember, you're not alone on this path to success. We're right here with you every step of the way.
Remember, we're doing this right.
Right?